All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z.
I think I'm like,
I will be damned if I'm going to start this show with you besmirching yourself. I am not doing that.
You want me to do it instead? I mean,
Gibby was ready for that.
At it. No.
Yesterday, I couldn't get you to pay attention to the first half hour of the program.
There was a circus going on in this room.
You were tomcatting around with all your buddies back there.
How many people can we fit in a tiny little room?
You and Pedman howling at the moon.
Oh, my
In the
goodness,
meantime, I was
seriously.
looking for.
We're out here trying to do.
We're doing a
show.
program. We're doing a program. But
Trying to run a business.
That's all we're doing.
Boy, were you.
That's all we're doing this time.
I guess actually I'm doing pretty well.
You look great. I love
Thank
this
you.
hoodie you're in.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a gorgeous hoodie.
Understated but exciting.
I know,
That's what
but
I like
at the
about
same
it.
time, you honestly, if you didn't know, and only you would really have to know, it just looks like almost
a
like
brand.
like a Lacoste or something, or a polo, that type of thing. But it
Very
looks great.
comfortable, cozy. It's a little bit colder.
Feels really
baby.
soft.
Let's go. By the way,
You know what I saw? Go
Tell
ahead. You
me.
go first.
No, I was
You
gonna
said
say-
by the way first, so go ahead.
so there was a thing going around on the socials about the greatest Jeff Jarrett guitar shots,
It's funny you're going wrestling
and
because
it
I
was
was
like
as well.
3 minutes long. And I texted the man himself, and I said, "This is great, but it's missing my favorite guitar shot of yours." And he agreed. It was pretty sweet when he laid me out.
That his best career move is in fact what he
Not
did
career
with you
move.
this
No,
summer.
no. Just guitar shot. It's
The
up there.
guitar
He said
shot.
it's up there. He's like,
It's
I
up
got
there.
you good.
He's maybe just being nice.
Of course he is, but it's like I love talking with you. We're right now. We're
When are you going to do it?
commiserating.
Are we getting you back in it?
No.
Next
That's it.
summer
One
you're
and
back.
done.
No, he's back. Come on.
Dude,
on.
it took me months to
he's
feel
safe.
normal again. No,
He's
I'm not getting
safe.
any younger. Nope.
Start building towards it.
I had the summer of George, dude. I wrestled.
You did.
A
You
Hall
did.
of Famer.
You
I
did have
flew
the
with the
summer.
Blue
He's
Got
Angels.
to get it all out of his system.
Yeah.
No. More, all the joy in the world. All right, this is what I saw on
Don't be a
social.
sieve, Gibby.
This is what I saw on social for the first time.
You
You've
know,
seen this
I
a
don't
million
know.
times. I don't even know how it came, why it showed up.
Okay.
But it was Hogan, Rock,
It's the best minute
then-
in history of wrestling.
and then Mankind.
Oh, the promo.
The promo.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It's Hogan and Rock, and then Mankind
Steals
comes
the
in
show.
and steals the show
Completely.
I'd never seen it because I was out of wrestling at that time,
yeah.
so I didn't watch it, and so I'd never heard
in
the
the build up
person
to
who is
WrestleMania 18.
who I'd never had any idea I've never knew that Mankind ever spoke, and
Oh,
never.
yeah.
I mean, because again, I didn't watch it during this time, and so to see him like do them both like perfect.
Oh, he's great.
It was
McFoley,
great.
He's a natural comic genius.
Wait
also,
a second, I didn't know that either.
oh yeah,
That's who that is?
yeah, it's McFoley.
Oh, I didn't know that.
McFoley was
I thought I
the
knew
three
him as that
faces
guy.
of Foley. He has three faces of Foley.
All right.
Cactus Jack.
That
who's
I
like
remember.
the death match.
Yeah,
Mankind, who was deranged and disturbed, and
yeah.
then Dude Love, who was the best. Yow! He wore like tie dye, and he would dance with his hands on his knees like this, and he was like a hippie, a free love hippie.
He's in the WWE, the Netflix thing because of how much they push the envelope, and that's I think when you would have been at your
Yeah, he
height.
was in that one about the Royal Rumble, right? Where The Rock
he
hit him
fell.
all the chair shots and then going through the
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, there's also a minute clip going around right now from WrestleMania 18 that is my favorite minute of wrestling. And it is The Rock hits the rock bottom. This is in the Toronto Sky Dome, 2002. The Rock hits the rock bottom, goes for the cover, Hulk kicks out, and then Hulk's up. And like when you talk about a building coming unglued,
yeah.
the Sky Dome, completely nuts. We'll watch it in one of the breaks. It's tremendous.
Speaking of Sky Dome, you were there for a WrestleMania?
No, I was not.
Have
there
you
for
been
that.
there?
I've been there for baseball.
Same. And we're old enough to remember when it opened, and you were like, wait a second, there's a hotel in there, and there's a mall, and there's all of these things, and there was a famous
Hard Rock, baby.
that happened
There's famous things that happened in that hotel.
in that hotel.
Your room
It's the
looks over the
craziest-
field.
Correct. It's the damnedest thing when you went in there. It's been about 10 years. I went there once for a game. I can't even remember who they played, but I remember going to the game and being in there and thinking, like, who dreamt this thing up?
It's
and
wild.
juxtaposed to what they opened last night in L.A. that the Clippers are playing in. Go ahead.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
The first Raw wrestling tie-in, first Raw that will be on Netflix when they announce that huge, massive deal, is going to be from there. I have to imagine it's going to be spectacular.
It's so crazy, and Andrew's, I don't know if he's in there, but he's around, and I just think of, I don't know that there's an apples per apples for it, because the Clippers are so down in the pecking order in Los Angeles, give a damn, and yet they have this palace.
Where is it?
Isn't it? It's
right
Inglewood,
across from
isn't it?
SoFi.
Yeah, it's
right by
Inglewood.
SoFi.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Near the old Forum?
got to be other
Is it
side.
other side?
Other side.
Other
okay.
side. Yeah. So
I love when the old Forum it's still there.
oh,
Yeah,
it's
great when you
fantastic.
fly in.
Yeah, they should have kept doing that series. That series is really entertaining. But I just like the clearly like eighth fiddle thing in L.A.
Yeah.
and yet they have this wealthy guy who's just built this thing, and it's sensational. It's wild.
It's got a student section.
The wall.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's like the best thing you could ever
And
do.
he was in there going nuts.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Who do they have that's fun on their team?
They still have James Harden, who's not fun, and they still have Kawhi, but guess what? He's hurt.
Well, he doesn't play basketball.
Shocking.
Yeah. There's already an investigation, by the way. Did you see this with the Sixers for not playing Embiid and Paul George? There's already an investigation by the NBA into it. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Because Daryl Morey said we're not going to play. They're never going to play back-to-backs.
Ever?
That's good for your. That's good to throw that at your customers.
Wait.
We're not going to play back. Nah.
How,
Like, I don't know.
we're
you got a job. Go
we're
play.
back to this,
By the
and
way,
we're 2 days into the NBA.
this isn't. It's not football where you're playing left tackle, defensive end, and it's a violent collision every single play. Like you can coast in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
You can coast and play basketball. You can just run up and
the way,
down,
they coast-
get some shots up, do it like an all-star game. They coast for 3.5 quarters anyway.
Let's say they do that in the regular season.
Just run around and shoot. Like, come on.
There are so many things in sports, and not to be like the old man, get off my lawn type of a guy. That is nuts to me. Guys used to play, Stars played 82 games.
Jordan, I think, had 10 seasons of playing 82 games.
82 games, all of them. Played every night. And
Yeah,
they
that's
played
what you do.
their full allotment.
And they weren't flying and traveling like this.
I'm going to pull up this right here. And is G-Man in there?
No.
No? All
What
right.
do you need?
Gibbe, what-
G-Man.
I need you to look up the innings pitched leaders for the 2024 Major League Baseball season.
I got that.
Okay, you got that. All right.
Oh, you got that? All
Yeah,
right.
I think.
So what I'm looking up right now
I was
is
looking
just
up the
one guy,
Clippers roster.
and this is like a guy that would be familiar to my youth, Dave Stewart. That's who I'm looking up right now. Dave Stewart, and I believe he had, where's innings pitched? Here we go. 260, 275, 260, 270, 270. Does anybody even come close to that?
All right, hold on.
Guys would pitch 300 innings at times.
All right. This year's innings pitched leader was 208.
Yes, so he had
Logan Gilbert.
1, 2,
208.
3, 4, 5, 6 straight seasons of 260 basically or more. He had 4 straight seasons where he faced he had 5 straight seasons where he faced 1,000 batters. 5 straight seasons.
And here's the
And they weren't hurt. He
So
does
this
this
is-
every year.
this is
He's doing it
similar-
at 30 years of age.
This is similar to our football conversation about ligaments and all of that. And yet there are more injuries to arms and shoulders and elbows than ever before in baseball. Guys are consistently shut down, and there weren't too many of them in those days. None that I don't remember a lot of stars like losing a whole year.
The Rocket goes 254, 281, 264, 253, 230, 270, 240. Then he got sub 200 for a few years, 240, 260, 230. I mean, face over 1,000 batters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. 8 times. And he's doing it 1997 at the age of 34. He threw 264 innings, led the league with 292 strikeouts at 34.
I wonder what you need somebody to do a study on.
If a guy goes 4 2/3 inning now,
Why
they think
are
the
we-
starter's so great.
Despite it can't just be as simple as ligaments are the same, muscles can only fine tune some. If maybe it is just that simple, but like why we have so many more catastrophic injuries now in sport than we did then. What is it? Or maybe we didn't. Maybe we just weren't paying attention to it. But what you're saying is very much similar to like the running back conversation we have all the time, or any of the others.
At the age of 42, Nolan Ryan threw 240 innings, 40 more than anybody there.
Yeah.
And struck out at the age of 42, 301 batters. He faced over 1,000 batters. Basically almost every year of his career. One year he faced 1,392 batters. He threw 332 innings in 1974. and struck out 367 batters. Coming off of a year where he threw 326 innings and struck out 383 batters.
Yeah. Last year, the league lead was 228.
How about
Skubal.
Is there?
Skubal,
Okay, I want you
228.
to look up one more thing for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Complete games. Who is the complete games leader?
Oh, jeez.
Boy, you are fully.
I'm
get
not
off
even
my
sure
lawn
if
guy.
we really are. I don't even know if they have complete games pitched, game starts, quality starts. I don't even see complete games.
It's not even a stat anymore. Nolan Ryan, from 1972 to 1977, 20 complete games, 26 complete games, 26 complete games, 10 complete games, 21 complete games, 22 complete games. And when he had 26 complete games in 73 and 74, he didn't even lead the league in them. Didn't even lead the league in them. Incomplete games.
All right, all right, here we go. Complete games, league leaders. A lot of pop-ups on the MLB site.
Is there anybody that even has 5?
He's got to get through the pop-ups.
Oh my God,
He's got to navigate.
there were none.
There wasn't a single complete game in baseball.
Oh wait, hold on, that's postseason. That would.
Well, we definitely know there were none there.
This is just. I got to tell you, be easier to navigate websites.
Pro Football Reference, Baseball
Oh
Reference.
my
That's what I'm.
gosh! All right, complete games. There were
In 2024, there were
the
a
league
rec-
leader was 2. There were 2.
Two.
There were
The
3
guy was-
guys with 2 complete.
there
guy
were,
was
there
throwing
were a
20.
record low 26 complete games this past season in baseball.
Nolan Ryan had that many in a season. Himself, one person
So
with
why?
an arm.
What is happening?
And he threw until he was 46.
What's happened?
I don't know.
Complete game league leaders. There were 3 guys that had 2.
We need Voos on right now. This would be a good Voos segment. Be like Voos.
Yeah. Why? Hey, let's go back.
explain
next
it to
Tuesday.
us.
Give them a call. See if they'll have us back.
We're at
Black Forest.
the Black Forest.
Tuesday after.
I'll meet you there.
That's the bye week.
Tuesday after.
Not it.
I'll meet you there.
A couple of things. Jim Schwartz will be at the podium. We'll take it live when he gets there. We hit the practice field at 1:45 today. Jack Conklin, Tony Brown, Wyatt Teller all limited in practice yesterday. DTR and Miles were full. Posick, Wills, and Hicks did not practice. Ravens injury news: Zay Flowers, Marlon Humphrey, Travis Jones, TJ Tampet, Nate Wiggins, all DNPs. Malik Harrison,
podium.
Arthur Mullett, Broderick Washington, Jalen Armour Davis, and Keaton Mitchell were all limited. And now I believe we can head to the podium.
Yep.
Presented by Vivid Seats. Here's Jim Schwartz.
You're down.
Oh, yeah. Because I got thirsty. Okay.
How much different? I know, running's always been part of Baltimore's offensive, scheme, but have they adjusted much in terms of the way they've integrated Derek in with Lamar and how they're using them together different than previous years?
Yeah, I mean, they've added some dot pistol and some 2-back runs that, there's been different times over the years that they've been a little bit more shotgun with the zone read and those kind of things. But he certainly gives those guys a different dimension in the run game. And I would say it's because of all the big plays. It's not the 3, 4, 5 yarders. It's the 80-yarders and, some of those things that we've seen on film. Derrick Henry's a player we know. We went against him last year. And we're going to have to play our very best to slow down and contain their running game.
He doesn't look like he's on the decline at all. Was there ever a point in the last couple of years where we thought maybe he was kind of tailing off, and then this is a surprise at all that he's playing as well as he has?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say just from watching. He's been an outstanding player for a long time in the NFL, and he's got great size. He's got great straight line speed, and he's got a good cast around. They make you defend so much in the run game. You just can't concentrate on taking a running back out. You have the quarterback keepers that you have to handle. You have the jet sweeps, the Flowers that you have to handle. The jailbreak screens, the Flowers and the other receivers. You have to defend all 11 on every single play. You just can't focus on one person.
Did you get to see when you were in Tennessee sort of how Derek takes care of himself and just sort of his approach to his body?
Yeah, like a lot of great players, very serious about his craft and, his conditioning and those kind of things. He's obviously been blessed with some physical skills and some, size and things like that. But he's also been a hard worker and has made the most of it. And I think when you see veteran players that have success late in their careers, it's not just an accident. It's because of, professionalism and discipline and hard work.
Mark Rowe in the Todd Monken, with Todd Monken over the last season plus?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty much over his career. He's gone from a run-first quarterback to a pass-first quarterback that can make plays with his feet. Has a lot more quick throws in there. There's been times in the past that he sort of zeroed in on one receiver. When you got good players, you want to zero in on one guy. But now he's spreading the ball around to a lot more people. Has that combination of getting it out quick, but he can also make a play when the play breaks down. And he threatens all 53 in a third, 110 or 120 yards of the field. He's sideline to sideline, and he can go north-south in a hurry also. So, they pretty much opened the whole passing game up to him. And he can rely on that, but he also has those legs that he can make explosive plays. I mean, I think he leads the NFL in explosive runs. You guys got to check my math on some of those. I know I'm.
Broader question: the way the game's played nowadays, the NFL game with the rule changes, is it impossible to pitch a shutout nowadays?
I mean, it's not impossible, but the games have changed quite a bit. I mean, I'll go back to, my first few years in the league. We would have those defensive goal boards on your in your meeting room. Whatever, 25% on third down, and hold them to less than this and this, and it was always 13 points or less, right? Like that was the goal. It was like 2 touchdowns, no good. It has to be 13 points or less, and that was considered a win way back in the mid 90s up until like the middle 2000s, and then we started creeping it up. Then it became like 15 and 16 and 17, and just with it's not so much with rule changes and things like that, even though it is part of it, but just the additions in the running game. I mean, back then there was no such thing as an RPO. If you had a good run defense on a play, there wasn't an outlet to throw to. The running back got hit in the teeth for a -4 yard gain. The passing game was a lot different. There weren't as many picks and shallows to take advantage of man-to-man, all those different things. So it certainly put a little bit more on the defense, some of the defensive holding, illegal contact, roughing the quarterback, all those things have sort of added into it. But when it's all said and done, you're trying to give up less than you score. And, whether that's 32 in a 33-32 game or it's 9 points in a 10-9 game, you just got to keep your eye on that. From week to week, and and win the way that game's being played. So
pretty happy, I would imagine, with the way the defense played against the Bengals heading into this game against this challenging offense.
Yeah, we weren't happy at all. I mean, you lose the game. There's no consolation prizes. There's no participation trophies. There's no well, you did a good job. You didn't win the game. And just like Tony's question, I mean, that's everything that we look at. Do enough to win the game, and every game played a little bit different. And you look back at that, we gave up 2 touchdowns, and you're like, okay, well, if we could have held one of those to a field goal, both of them were on the fringe area, make a tackle here, get a PBU there, maybe that game changes a little bit. I have been encouraged by our run defense the last couple of weeks. I mean, all said and done, I mean, you're not happy with the loss, but I think we held the Bengals to season lows in a lot of categories. We were good on third down. We were good stopping the run. We contained their passing game. So there are some encouraging signs, but, happy, satisfied, none of those things come into play.
Picking up off of that, Jim, Denzel Ward, is he playing as well as you've seen him play?
I thought he played really good last year for us too. He'll start coming down with some of those interceptions. Has hands on a lot of balls, and that play he made last week was just amazing. I mean, he didn't get the interception because the ball hit the ground there, but we put a lot of pressure on our corners in that game. There was a lot of different layers to coverage, and there was going to be a lot of one-on-ones where, depending on where the help was going. And, I thought those guys did a good job of battling in there and making the plays and containing some of their plays. We can always play better.
Did you feel like they were, last week you sort of, I don't want to say called them out, but you mentioned that you thought there was another level they could play at. Did you feel like that you got the response out of them that you were looking for?
Yeah, I didn't do that for a response. Our expectations are high with that group, and it wasn't calling somebody out or anything else. It was just, facts. We have a lot of confidence in our corners. We think they're the best corner group in the NFL. Time to start playing that way. And, so there was it wasn't like it was a message or we called people out or, anything like that. You got kids and, they come back with C's on their report card and, you expect more from them. It's not that you're calling them out or anything else. You're just raising their standard and trying to live up to that standard.
At this point in a season and the trade deadline is coming, do you have to address any of those things with your players that might be on edge, wondering if they're going to be traded or next?
No, that's really not my role. And our job is the next opponent. Our job is us and executing our schemes and playing with good fundamentals and tackling and rushing the passer and tackling and covering. We got enough with those things, and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and I'm sure that I'm missing some in there. Bateman. There's a long list in there that things that require our attention other than that.
All those guys right there, just now they're weapons that they have on offense, but Mark Andrews just getting more involved here recently. Like, how much of a challenge is he to go against just his experience that he has with Lamar?
Yeah, he's just one of those savvy guys, has a way of getting open. He can be physical in the route. He can also use some route craft to get open. He's good at trying to beat guys' leverage. We saw a similar guy a few weeks ago in Zach Ertz. Andrews maybe has a little bit more heaviness to him. But, yeah, he's been a good player for a long time for them. And then also complemented by Likely, who's made a lot of big plays. They run the ball so well that opens up those tight ends in the play-action game. So it's just not one of these games. There's some games you can go up and you say, hey, if we stop the run, we win the game. Or if we stop the pass, we win the game. Whatever it is, with these guys, you can't say that. You can say, hey, we take Lamar's legs away, we win the game. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. We stop Derrick Henry, win the game. They got plenty of other ways to run the football. They got a lot of playmakers and things like that. We just got to play good overall team defense, and we got to play with our style, and, we got to be physical. It's going to be that kind of game.
Just a couple more.
We know complementary football is the big thing, but is it impractical for a defensive coordinator behind closed doors to tell his troops, we got to win this game?
No, I don't know. You say things like that before. We've had times where it's two great defenses and you challenge the guys and say, hey, look, best defense is going to win this game. And it's no disrespect to your offense, but, that's the way it goes. I'm sure offensive coaches, do the same thing. You got two explosive offenses, and you say like, hey, we got to outscore this offense. There's a lot of different ways you can challenge your guys during the week and over the course of the season and things like that. And we take a lot of pride in our performance. I think we're starting to see some positive signs from our group and we're starting to leave some of the inconsistencies behind. We're still not there yet. You're always battling and trying to deal with whether it's injuries or, different schemes or, different things. It's always a sort of a moving target over the course of the year. But we expect to be able to carry our team, and it's just a prideful part of playing defense. And, when it's all said and done, you can't win if you don't give up points. I mean, if you don't score any points, but you're not going to lose if you don't score any points. I mean, if you don't give up any points. Did I say that right? Yeah. I'm sure I screwed that one up. But I mean, it's just just what you got to do.
More control over that than the offense. The offense could say they can't beat us if we score 100 points. But you could say they can't beat us if we score.
If they can't beat us if they score 0. I mean, yeah. I mean, is that impractical? Maybe, but we'll certainly strive for it.
Jim, I think it's been 3 games without a sack for Miles. I know sacks aren't everything, but are you still seeing him have the same impact he normally does, or what do you see going on there?
Yeah, I mean, Burrow was throwing it quick. The fact that we got 3 sacks, I mean, so much of their passing game is don't take a sack. But again, I sort of go to, I think Miles had 4 TFLs or 3 TFLs. You'd have to check you guys know me. I throw out stats sometimes that don't. But again, okay, so it's first down and you get a tackle for 3-yard loss on a run play. It's a pass play and you get a sack for a 3-yard loss. One of them is, held up as the high standard for a defensive lineman. The other one can get sort of ignored. There was a 3rd down in that game. They were trying to get him field goal range to, I think at that point, make it a 3-score game. And, they tried to run the ball, and Miles made a tackle for a loss in the run game that forced them to punt. And, that was a huge play because, I think the opponent got the ball right around midfield about 4 times. We gave up 7 points in those 4, but that was a huge stop in the game. It wasn't a sack, but the play stopped the game. So, whatever you got to do to be able to make plays, ball coming out quick. Not a lot of times you can do anything about that, getting doubled. Not a lot of times you can do things about that, but you can always find ways to be an impact player, and Miles has continued to do that. Okay.
All right, there you go. Coordinator Jim Schwartz at the podium. It is presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience packages today for the ultimate game day. And your Hot Topics today also presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is a matchup day. We will handle our defense versus the Ravens offense, which is formidable. This is your strength versus strength matchup. We will do that coming up next. You'll hear from new offensive coordinator, new play caller, Ken Dorsey, coming up in the second hour of the program. I believe it is a mailbag day. It is a mailbag day, a mailbag edition of the program as well. We're off and running on a Thursday. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Now's your chance to be inches away from your favorite players. They take on some big opponents this season. Field seats at Huntington Bank Field put you up close and personal with the thrill of the game. Limited quantities are available, so get them before they're gone. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/field seats to secure your spot now. Time for a little bit of a matchup. This is the strength versus strength. It is our defense versus a lights-out Ravens offense. And for the perspective and the details, we turn to Dr. Z.
I'm going to quote a former Browns coach.
Yep.
Turned TV analyst / funny man. He is. He's
/ funny man.
He's incredibly entertaining.
I'm not disagreeing. Go ahead.
His name is Bill Belichick. And here's what he says about the Ravens offense.
Yeah.
The toughest thing about the Baltimore offense is their combination of power and speed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unlike any other team in the league. If you have too many slow guys out there, you have trouble with their speed. If you have too many little guys out there, you have trouble with their power.
Uh-huh.
I think they're a really hard team to match up against.
Same, Bill.
Well, Bill.
Analysis.
You should also know this is the number one rushing offense in the league. This is the number one total offense in the league. This is the number one scoring offense in the league. They produce more first downs than anybody in the league. They're the number one red zone offense in the league. They're the number 2 on third downs. In other words, they are very good at football.
Mm-hmm.
They're averaging 461.4 yards per game. Lamar Jackson, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, NFL best 118 rating. He's also run for 455 yards. So by my quick calculations here, you're talking about somebody that's already produced 2,265 total yards and 17 touchdowns alone through 7 games. Oh, and then there's Derrick Henry, who leads the league in rushing yards with 873 and total touchdowns with 10 of them. So this is an offense that is very, very difficult to beat. This is an offense that can make plays in a variety of ways, with the legs of Derrick Henry, with the legs of Lamar Jackson, with the arm of Lamar Jackson. And guess what? They are making plays down the field. Rashad Bateman is averaging a career-high 18.8 yards per catch. Nelson Aguilar is averaging 16.8 yards per catch. Then you got Zay Flowers, who has got over 100 yards in 2 of the last 3 games. G-Man. They've got a Pro Bowl center. They've got a 380-pound guard.
Gibby liked that, by the way.
He did like that. They've got Ronnie Stanley. It's a complete offense under the tutelage of Todd Monken. Any idea who their quarterback coach is? Tennessee Ties. This is college football Nate going in the Wayback Machine.
Oh, and is it a T. Martin? Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
That one's too small. Can't hold it up.
Yeah, I don't know what. Where's the big B? Gibby. I'll find it. Continue. Oh, there they are. There they are. There they are.
Huge B. There it is.
There you go. There you go. You're all right. The board took a hit.
The board went tumbling. It was like, wow, the big B's. You got to pay attention. So in other words, this is an incredible offense. They are doing things we talked about that are just absolutely historic. If Lamar Jackson throws for 250 yards and 40 rushing yards in Week 8, he will now have the most consecutive games like that of streak of 4 in NFL history. He's currently tied with Randall Cunningham. They're a little bit of a juggernaut, and they can hurt you with the pass. They can hurt you with the run. They're hurting you every which way.
Yep.
And we talked about the historic nature of some of what they're doing, which I have for you right here. They have the biggest differential in rushing that has happened ever in terms of their rushing offense versus their rushing defense. They're rushing for 142.5 yards more than their opponents. They've run for over 100 yards in like 40 straight games. It's the longest streak in the NFL. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are averaging 190 yards rushing per game. I mean, it's
like a college team. I said
it's outrageous.
It's like something college teams would do.
Our guy Siciliano, I'm going to go onto his Twitter right now and pull this one up, but he had a tweet with a graphic about Derrick Henry, and it was that basically Derrick Henry has more rushing yards than a great number of teams. I can't find it now, but it was on here. Maybe it was a reply. Is he in there? Siciliano in there? He can tell us.
Yes.
He is. How many teams? He's got that one at the ready.
He said 23.
More rushing yards than 23 teams.
NFL teams.
That doesn't feel like a small number.
No, it's a big number.
Feels like a very
Complete
big
games. It's almost as many as complete games thrown this year.
Yeah, well, almost.
Also true.
Yeah, also true. If he can outrush 3 more teams, he'll tie that number, 26. So, yeah, this is a tough matchup. So, for the Browns, okay, so what do we have to do to try to stop? You're going to see a lot of 2 tight ends on the field because they'll play Mark Andrews. They'll play Isaiah Likely. They'll play Charlie Kohler, who's 6'6", 257, like an extra offensive lineman. Oh, and then they still have Patrick Ricard, who is a 6'3", 300-pound fullback who's a 4-time Pro Bowler just as a blocker. So they can beat you up, and then when you try to stop that, they can throw it over the top, and if they bust through the line, Derrick Henry has the 2 longest runs in the league this year. He's already got his long of the season was a sweet, I think, 89-yarder. So he's been 81-yarder, I'm sorry. Last week he had an 81, and he's got an 87. So he has 2 runs of 80 yards this year. He's been just phenomenal. They're tough. So you've got to be stout on first and second down. You've got to put them in obvious passing situations and then try to get after Lamar Jackson. But at the same time, maintain your discipline in your rush lanes, because if you don't, then he's just going to run for the first down. It's just that simple. Lamar against the Browns, 7-4 all time, 66% completions, 813 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 picks. He's run for 638 yards and 6 touchdowns. He has 1 fourth-quarter comeback game-winning drive. That was on that Monday Night Football game where he had to leave the field and then come back.
I remember it well, yeah.
In rather dramatic fashion. Yeah, they're tough. It's going to be, the front has got to be stout. The linebackers have got to be great. We have got to clean up the missed tackles. We had another dozen last week. And then you have to limit the big plays in that passing game. Bateman, the former first rounder, really starting to come into his own. 4 catches, 121 yards last week. His 394, he is absolutely on pace for a new career high in receiving.
They waited a while for him.
They have. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, but this year he's staying healthy. They're tough. This is a tough matchup. You've got to be sound. And really, the one thing that's been missing from this football team is their ability to take the football away, their ability to generate interceptions. Do you know our secondary does not have a single interception this year? It's hard to even fathom that.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was going to say it's early, and obviously he's got to continue to play games, but Denzel's playing like a first-team All-Pro corner.
Absolutely.
For
12
sure.
passes defense leads the league. No picks, though. No picks for Delpit, Newsome, Thornhill. Anybody who plays defensive back. The only person with a pick on the team this year, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You have got to turn him over. Last year when we beat them, Mike Ford got an interception, the only one of his career, and Greg Newsome got the first one of his career, which was a pick 6. You're only going to be able to beat this team if you turn Lamar Jackson over. Easier said than done. He's been simply spectacular. This is, you talked about good on good. This is great on good right now, or great on very good. But look, if you do what you did last week, and you held them to 2 of 13 on third downs, you held them to 14 offensive points. That's a win. That's a winning defensive performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. If you do that again, you got to let the chips fall where they may and hope that the Browns and this offense can hold up their end of the bargain. It's going to be tough, though. This is an offense that can beat you by just straight up lining up, running the football because all 11 are involved in their run game. It's an offense that then when you come up here and you really try to do it, you can't stop them. It's tough. And Todd Monken's dialing it. He's pressing all the right buttons.
Yeah, he's going to be one of those guys that's like, wait, he was here? And you and I remember it well. Remember those chats we would.
He used to come in here all the time.
He'd come in here and chop it up.
It was
and we'd
awesome.
be like, he was the best, absolutely the best.
Yeah.
Went to Georgia and then got very, very right. But really, the defense the last 2 weeks has been very, very solid. But this will be the biggest test, obviously, of the year by a pretty wide margin. All right, coming up next, we will go around the league, including a quick look at what's happening tonight. Perhaps both Rams receivers could be back. We will get to that coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Howard Hannon's official real estate provider of your Cleveland Browns. When it comes to buying and selling, you'll need a reliable team to guide you through the process. And as the market leaders in Northeast Ohio, more buyers and sellers trust Howard Hanna to be their home team. Save time and money. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. We go around the league, presented by Leaf Filter, official gutter guard of your Cleveland Browns. Cooper Kupp returns tonight for the Rams, and optimism that Puka Nacua could as well. Rams getting 3.
Let me tell you
tonight.
something.
Getting 3 tonight.
That could be very tough for the Signs if you get Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Signs are not going to be a heck of an upset. Going to be some great odds for the Signs.
Got to be some great odds for the Signs this week.
Yeah, I like
That'd
that.
be good for the Rams. Good for Stafford. Again, you wonder, what's going to end up happening with that team. I do wonder. To me, it feels like the NFL trade deadline is always kind of like overhyped and underdelivers relative to other sports.
I think there's more trades now than there used to be.
For sure.
And I think you could see some more. That day is Election Day.
That's right. So we have...
And it is also the first day of the college football playoff rankings.
12 days.
Yep.
12 days.
Yep.
So you will play this game, you will play the Chargers game, and then that Tuesday.
Yep.
There you go.
That's it.
That's it.
Mike Evans out at least 4 weeks, according to head coach Todd Bowles.
So
they are 2.5. Atlanta is only giving 2.5 at Tampa without Godwin and Evans.
Seems surprising.
It
most certainly does. Now, what is interesting to me and what's at stake here for those keeping score at home for Mike Evans is something rather significant. And I don't know how your internet is today. Mine is
not great.
Terrible. But Mike Evans has at least 1,000 yards receiving in every season that he has been in the National Football League.
Oh, you're curious about that track down.
That is 11 straight to start. Now, you might think that he is on pace again. He is not. He has but 335 yards receiving.
And he's going to be out the next 4.
So that'll take him through 11 games. So he will have 6 games to produce 665 yards, which is doable.
Yeah. You need one that's like 6 for 196.
Yeah, you need
like
a
monster.
A monster, a 150, a couple of 150s, a 200 in there, for sure. He does lead the league at this time with 6 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah,
but his career average is 75 yards a game. This year he's only averaging 47.9 yards per game. Now Godwin,
he was at 576.
Yeah, Godwin was the one who was getting all of the yards this year, but he won't be back. So Evans is going to have to go in there. And this is one of those ones where I think you never want to fudge the stats. I don't know if people realize this as well. Godwin has 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, 4 of the last 5, and was well on pace to do it again this season. He's just been so steady and so productive. Not a touchdown scorer, though. Last 4 seasons, 5 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 5, whereas Evans has 19 since the start of 2023. That's something that's one of those things I want it to happen for him. But you're gonna really have
He's gonna have to work, buddy.
He's gonna have to work, and you're really gonna need, when he comes back, some big games.
Yeah, the 6 splits when he's there and when he's not are dramatic.
Yeah, he's really good.
He sure is. And now they've lost them both. So that does not bode well for them. Giants owner John Mara says he does not anticipate making a change in coach or GM. Well, I don't know how you could after what he did.
Here's the thing.
With the Hard Knocks. What's he going to say? I wonder how he's available.
What's he going to say? The notion that, right, you're not going to say, yeah, we're firing them. Then you can't do that. He says he doesn't anticipate it. Okay.
All right, this last one's interesting. Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey, DNP yesterday due to jury duty.
I saw that.
Okay, so here's what
That's wild. How's that even possible?
So I think he worked the system to get out of practice.
I would say good job by him.
Yeah, I think he worked the system to get out of practice. So I think he said
kicker anyways. He's
he
good.
went to
might
jury
not even
duty.
kick on Wednesday anyway.
Right, but he went to jury duty.
Yeah.
They said, "Well, Brandon, you can't be on jury duty. You're an NFL kicker.
Yeah.
We can't
And so now he
sequester
did
you."
his.
So now he did his community service.
Yeah.
He went there. He showed up.
He's off the list.
He's off the list, and he's out. And
he
that's
got a
it.
day
Because
off of practice.
he could have easily have said, primary money provider in the house, I'll be fined if I miss practice, and they would have given him the pass, and that would have been it.
No,
it would have been so easy.
Smart.
So he worked the system. Good job out of him.
Good job out of him.
All right, one other big theory I want to run by you.
Please.
You did the scores yesterday. You guessed the scores yesterday. I did the scores this morning.
Okay.
Okay. There are at least four, and as many as 6 that are 9 or more from a spread perspective.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that the folks who decide those things out west are anticipating teams in tank mode and anticipating teams because when you look at the teams that are in those scenarios, it is oftentimes, okay, season's lost, and they're trying to protect themselves. I mean, you think about that Buffalo line last week, and it was
Tennessee
9. And I think I got it.
Yeah.
And thought it's huge, but and they crushed it. It was 34-10.
I think they were down 10-0 though.
Right, and then it was
similar to
boat race.
Tampa was up 10-0 on the Ravens.
Yeah. So I just wonder if that's what's going on, because in week 7, folks, and you and I have been doing the scores for a long time.
Yeah.
In week 7 to have that many games, 9 or more, it seems like they're trying to. It seems like they think they've figured something out to protect themselves, because there should be a lot. There was only 1 or 2 Vegas zone, 4 to 6. Everything was there was. It was really big, above 7. A lot of them. I'll pull it up for you just so you have it. But what do you think that's about?
I think that in a league that is striving for parity, I just don't think there is a ton of parity right now. I think you have some bad teams. We're unfortunately bad. That's one of them. That's 8.5 is what I'm seeing right now. The Titans are very bad. They're 11.5 on the road.
I mean, there's 5 of 8 or more. There's another 2 that are 7.
The
You're talking
Patriots
about 7
are dreadful.
games.
That's a 7er. The Saints are playing with kind of like a almost like a scab team right now.
The Chiefs are. I mean, they're that. But even Denver is playing Carolina. It's 10,
and the Steelers are 6 on the
Steelers
Giants.
are 6, and the Commies. I'm sorry, the Raiders are 9.5 or 10. I mean, Denver by 10. Denver by 10.
Denver. That's how bad Carolina is. I just think we have right
So we
now,
just have some really bad teams, but I think it's more than that. I do think that there is something to, and this has been going on for a while.
Panthers, but who's trying? I think that tanking will get factored in, especially after the trade deadline. If you see how certain teams,
I think they're trying to
act.
jump it. That's my theory, that they're trying to jump the trade deadline and thinking that teams are already yeah, we're good.
I think some of these teams are just bad.
Yeah,
Carolina is bad. Tennessee is bad. The Raiders are
How are
bad.
the Jets by 7 over New England?
New England is bad.
I mean, May looked okay.
Didn't they get blown out by
By the way, the Jets aren't great.
How much did they?
Do you know the Jets have lost 4 in a row?
Yeah, they're not good.
New England's lost 6, and they played.
How much did they lose to Jacksonville by? It was comfortable.
Yeah, they covered. They lost 32-16.
Yeah,
so the 2 Drake May starts, they lost 41-21 and 32-16.
Even though he has been,
it's been okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. The numbers are big. Detroit 11, Baltimore 8. It's just a bunch of big numbers, and bigger than I remember this time. Normally, I guess I would say. So I just wonder what was going on with it. All right, I wanted to run that by you. Leaf Filter, the official gutter guard of your Cleveland Browns. Go to leaffilter.com/GoBrowns to schedule your free gutter inspection and to receive your exclusive promo offer. That's leaffilter.com/GoBrowns. Please do visit today. Second hour coming up next. Other side of the matchup, our offense versus the Ravens defense. You'll hear from new play caller Ken Dorsey as well. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Boost your game day this season with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet at $25 or more, and you get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience packages today for the ultimate game day. It is new play caller and offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey.
You're down. 11 minutes.
Just trying to win a football game, just go out and trying to win a game. Obviously, this league's so week to week, and you never know what happens. And in my situation, I think just like players, right? If somebody takes a step back or is not in there, players got to be ready to step up, and it's the same thing for coaches.
The process from Sunday night to whenever of you guys making this decision to change play caller?
I think a lot of reflection for us and for Kevin. Kevin's got a great feel and pulse of this team from day one since he stepped in the building. I feel like so. I think it's a lot of reflection, a lot of just evaluating where we're at, and I think it was a decision that just is made for right now. And again, we take these things week by week.
You calling plays change anything materially from an offensive standpoint?
I think at the end of the day, we're really going to still just look at, all right, how are we going to best attack a defense based off of our personnel and try to utilize our personnel in the best way. And that's just the focus on a week-to-week basis. And so I think that's the way I approach it. I think that's the way Kev approaches it. And I think that's the best way is, how can we utilize the personnel that we have based off of what we have available to us that week and what we're seeing on defense, and how can we best attack them.
Unique perspective you think that you can provide in this change as play caller?
That's a good question. I feel like I've been able to provide perspective to these guys no matter what my role is. I don't know if there's there's not a magic, a magic coach or a magic pill, to play better on offense. It's going to be work. It's going to be attention to detail. It's going to be us at the end of the day locking in and fighting and going out and playing with, extreme physicality, playing with speed, playing with confidence, So in terms of that perspective, I think I'm taking that same approach as a coach as every player should be. We want to freaking go out and play fast, physical, accountable football to each other. And I think that's the approach I'm going to take, and I think that's the approach that every single player should take that steps out on the field.
Have you guys talked about Kevin handing over play calling duties to you prior to this week, or is that just something that came up this week?
Again, that was the conversation we had this week. His thoughts in terms of prior weeks, you'd have to obviously ask Kevin about that, but this was the first conversation we had.
I know this isn't your first time calling plays. How much can you take from the previous time and kind of learn from that experience and utilize this time around? Yeah,
obviously very different scenarios, and I'm so focused on right now, to be honest with you, because it's just two very different situations, from, situation, personnel, everything, staff-wise, everything. So, you evolve as a coach and you learn, and there are different things. And so I think right now, our biggest emphasis and our biggest focus is about our execution, and it's about us at the end of the day. Obviously, Baltimore is such a good defense and they pose so many problems. We really got to focus on us and our execution. And I think that's the biggest focus I have, and thing, you learn from in past is, if you focus on yourself, if you focus about your execution, a lot of times that other stuff's going to take care of itself, because there's going to be looks that happen in the game that you can't give a offense all the, every look that the Baltimore Ravens are going to throw at you. So, you got to have rules that kind of handle things and be able to just go out and operate and trust your guys to make plays for you.
How do you feel about getting back into this role again after kind of, what went down with you last year, and also taking over a team that you played for, just your feelings on this whole new role?
Yeah, I think, it's I've just kind of honestly been just so focused on kind of the task at hand more so than any type of reflection or anything like that. I think there will be a time for that. Hopefully probably at the end of the year, and when things slow down. But I think right now it's just been so focused on moving forward, focusing on these guys and the problems they possess. So not a lot of reflection at this point, to be perfectly honest. It's just I'm excited for the opportunity for our guys. I'm excited about the opportunity to go out and compete, and really kind of get us going in terms of, hey, let's go out and execute at extremely high level.
About just the change of you guys losing Deshaun for the season
Mm-hmm.
and having Jameis here, what have you learned about him? What do you think he can do well in this system?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Jameis, they're different personalities. They're, different types of players. So Jameis obviously has got a lot of great experience in this league and done a lot of good things. And I remember a lot, going back to Carolina when we had Cam and Derek Anderson, and DA had to come in and play some games and played at a high level for us, but two very different players. So, it's about being able to adjust as an offense to guys' strengths and what they can do best and put them in position where they feel comfortable and they can go out and execute at a high level. And the guys around them know exactly what to do and how to do it. So you're not reinventing the wheel for your offense, but you're making sure that he's comfortable and the guys around him are comfortable, can execute at a high level.
You haven't scored 20 points in a game, and you don't have any plays that have gone for 40 yards this season. Where can you find a spark at this point of a season to kind of get things going in a positive direction?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think when you look at those things, it's about, it's not what defenses are doing to us. We just got to go out and execute at a high level and play fast, play physical, and play with accountability to each other. And I think that's the big thing for us is focusing on us. At this point. And it's if you do that and you're focused on what you can control. You focus on your attitude, you focus on your preparation, you focus on your effort, you focus on those things, your controllables, and not anything on the outside. You've got a chance, and I think with the guys in this room, there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride in this building, and a lot of guys who want to do the right things for this city, for this fan base, from the players and from the coaching staff. So we want to go out and prepare our tails off yesterday, today, tomorrow, and so on until game day, and so we could go out and play fast, fly around, and what happens on game day is what's going to happen. All right, but we're gonna put ourselves in position, all right, to make sure that we're doing the right things to go out and play fast and confident on game day, and that's what we want to do. We want to go out and fly around and do the right things for this city, for this fan base.
Ken, how will you assess Jed Will's play this year?
I'm sorry?
Jed Wills, how do you think he's played this year?
Yeah, I think, coming back off of, what he's had to go through and everything, he's been battling and he's been doing a lot of good things. Obviously, every player, there's some plays that, you're great, and there's some plays that, hey, I'd love to have back, and I could do better either from a decision standpoint or a technique standpoint, whether that's a quarterback, an offensive lineman, a running back, hitting a hole or anything. So I do think, obviously that he falls into that category of, hey, there's been a lot of good stuff, but obviously some things that, like all guys, we can be better at, we can improve, and where he's at in his career, he'll just keep getting better and better, I think, as he goes.
At the beginning of the season, you talked about being on the sideline, working with the quarterbacks, and how important that was for you. As you switch into this role, play calling, you still plan to be on the sideline, or do you think that'll change for you?
Still evaluating. I've called it from the box in the preseason this year when we messed around, calling it a little bit, called it from the field. So still in the evaluation thought process right now. To be honest, if I'm leaning one direction, leaning towards being up in the box right now, but again, that's so focused right now on the week and our preparation and making sure we're ready to play. Haven't made that decision fully yet.
You heard the pre-snap issues that have been there this year, from whether it's communication or lineup, whatever it is, that this change will help streamline some of that and maybe eliminate some of those mental errors?
I don't think at the end of the day, any one thing leads to those, pre-snap things, So at the end of the day, it's just making sure that our guys are confident in what they're doing and can go out and execute it, And I think, Kevin's thought process on that all year has been, really similar to mine. What do we have to do to make sure our guys know what they're doing, how to do it, and can go out and play fast. And that mentality is not going to change. And we just got to do a great job being accountable to each other and everybody in that room, accountable to every guy in that room and all 11 on the field. Hey, to go out, know what to do, how to do it, and be able to play fast, physical, and accountable football.
And how about Dorian? How much are you looking forward to maybe having a chance to call some plays for Dorian and helping him develop if he gets back in there this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's continues to grow, and he's done talk about not only Dorian but the whole group, but just talking Dorian, he just works his tail off, and you see him out there pre-practice doing stuff. He's locked in the meeting room, even when he's the third guy. Every question you ask him, he's on top of it. So he works his tail off and puts himself in position to be successful in game day. So excited with the direction that he's going as a player. And obviously, he's got to be ready to play for us. If he's the 2 this week, which is a continual evaluation for us as the week goes on, just to see how the injury is kind of healing up and how he feels throwing the ball. I'm sure he'll be ready to play and be ready to step in and execute at a high level.
All right, there you go. Ken Dorsey on the play calls for this weekend and the rest of the season. That is the plan. Time for the matchup, looking at our offense versus the Ravens' defense. So we did strength versus strength. This is the opposite. But honestly, I think there's a lot of unknowns, obviously, in terms of what our offense is going to look like this weekend.
Yeah, well, here's the facts of the matter. The Baltimore Ravens are allowing the following for opposing quarterbacks: 67.4% completions, 308 yards per game. That's the most in the NFL. They are allowing 14 passing touchdowns already. That is the third most in the NFL. They have allowed they have taken the ball away just 5 interceptions, 102 rating for quarterbacks, 6th best in the NFL. Over the last 3 games, quarterbacks are averaging 344 yards against the Ravens with 10 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. They've allowed 3 300-yard passers already this season. Dak Prescott, who had 379 and 2. Joe Burrow, 392 and 5. Baker Mayfield, 370 and 3 last week in the come-from-behind effort. They are as bad as they are against quarterbacks, they are also bad against receivers. They're allowing 14 catches a game by wide receivers, 5th most in the league. They're allowing 180 yards receiving per game, 3rd most, and they've allowed 11 touchdowns to receivers, the most. So if there was ever time for Jameis and Judy and Moore and Tillman, you feel like this would be that game. They've allowed 3 100-yard receivers already: Rashee Rice, Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase, who went for 193 and 2 against them. Tight ends have done great against them as well. They're allowing 6.4 receptions. That's 3rd most, and 77 yards per game, 2nd most. Interestingly, though, they have not allowed a tight end touchdown yet, but they have allowed 3 tight ends that have more than 90 yards against them. Jake Ferguson had 95, Brock Bowers 98, and last week K. Dotton had 100. They've allowed 4 of 7 teams to have a tight end go for more than 65 yards against them, so that bodes well for the Chief. Now, running backs, as generous as they are to quarterbacks, receivers, and tight ends, the passing game, they are not generous to running backs. Running backs are averaging just 51.7 yards per game against them on 3.1 yards per carry. Those are both fewest in the NFL. So it's not just simply teams are throwing because they're getting beaten and they can't run. Teams are not being able to run the football on this Baltimore Ravens team. In fact, not a single running back has rushed for 50 yards against them this season. That's a stupefying statistic. So when we look at that and you say to yourself, okay, but they're not great, right? Well, they can get after the quarterback. They have 22 sacks, 4th most in the league. They have are limiting teams to 68.4 yards per game rushing. That's number 1 in the league. They are top 10 in terms of interceptions. They've got 5, 4 of them by Marlon Humphrey. But where are they bad? Number 32 against the pass, 287 yards per game, 7.5, and that's 287 yards. And you're saying, well, why is that different than the fact that quarterbacks are averaging 308? That factors in sacks, net passing yards.
There you go.
There you go, indeed. They are giving up 46% conversions on 3rd down, 27th, and in the red zone, 65% touchdowns, 26th. So they're not great, but they've got some very good players. Up front, they've got Nnamdi Madubuike, formerly Justin Madubuike, who had 13 sacks last year, was a first-team All-Pro. He's got 2 sacks and 23 pressures. They've got big Michael Pierce in the middle, 355 pounds. They got big Travis Jones, 338 pounds. So they play as well. It's interesting. You're going to see more middle of the field open here than you're used to, about 48% of the time. So they're basically 50-50. That's 7th most. Now, they show open on almost every snap. 32% of the time, they'll go from open to close. So they will show you 70% of the time middle of the field open, 32% of the time that'll 80% of the time they'll show you middle of the field open, 32% of the time it'll actually move over and you'll have 51% close. But that's what they do on the majority of the time, is they'll be disguising it that way. They play a lot of zone, cover 4, cover 6, and even with 2 high safeties, they're still very good against the run. That's where you're able to run the football against those lighter boxes. But they've got great linebackers led by Roquan Smith. He's already got 74 tackles, 2nd in the NFL. Then they have the pass rushers on the edge. Kyle Van Noy's got 7 sacks to lead the team. Adafe Owe's got 4.5 on the other side, and then they've got the backups Ajabo, Tavius Robinson, and Yannick Ngakoue, who each have a sack on the season. The back end, they're going to play a lot of dime, 29.3%. 3 safeties on the field, that's 2nd most. Their 3 safeties are good ones. Eddie Jackson, the 2-time Pro Bowler and 1-time All-Pro. Kyle Hamilton, first-team All-Pro last year. And then Marcus Williams, who has 20 interceptions in his 8th season out of Utah. So they get those 3 safeties, and then they'll play the 3 corners with them. Marlon Humphrey, we'll see if he's able to go with the knee injury, but he's got 4 picks already, 2nd in the NFL. They've got Nate Wiggins, who was their first-round pick out of Clemson this year. He's got 7 passes defense and has been good in coverage. 52% completions, 80 rating, no touchdowns, no picks. And on the other side, they've got Brandon Stevens, who has 4 passes defense so far this season. They might get Arthur Millette back, who's got last year for them had an interception, 5 passes defense. But this is it's on paper a better defense than it's been, and I do think some of the stats are skewed by the fact that they've blown out a few teams that have had crazy comebacks on them.
That happened last week.
I do have injury updates.
Go, Gibby.
From Mr. Jeff Zrebeck, who will join us tomorrow.
Okay.
Cornerback Nate Wiggins, shoulder, and defensive lineman Travis Jones, ankle, returned to practice today. Jones wasn't doing much. He did have a walking boot on yesterday. Not practicing, Zay Flowers with an ankle, Rasheen Ali, ankle, TJ Tampa, the corner, with an ankle, and Marlon Humphrey with a knee. DNP today.
Yep. So they could be without Marlon Humphrey. Again, it's a diminished secondary, and without Humphrey would be even further diminished.
He did add Keaton Mitchell, the running back,
who had a long touchdown against us last year.
With a knee, who's been out, and cornerback Jalen Armour Davis, hamstring. Both started their 21-day practice window yesterday. We're also out there today. Mitchell won't play Sunday, but if Humphrey and Tampa are both out, Ravens will probably need to activate Davis.
Okay.
So they're here Sunday, then host Denver, host Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh. So talk about building up for them to Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, and kind of how the division will be won. Some monster games coming up on that side of things. Elk & Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries, 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Your Fantasy Minute is coming up next. Your Mailbag is coming as well. Get your questions into Gibbe at Browns_Daily. We will get to those coming up shortly. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Well, here from my friends at Jim Beam. What do sports and Jim Beam have in common? Both are better when enjoyed with others. So grab a bottle, gather your friends, enjoy the game, because with Jim Beam, you come as fans and leave as family. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2024, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart. Time for your Fantasy Minute, presented by Scaleco Capital, proud capital investment partner of your Cleveland Browns. Did you have something, Mr. Gibbs, Jason?
I do have injury.
Well, I was going to do that.
Well, now you can do it. You're ready.
Give it.
Not practicing today. Jedrick Wills, Jerome Ford, Jordan Hicks, Ronnie Hickman. Returning to practice, Ethan Posick, Quentin Jefferson. Interesting, he's practiced the last 2 days. Wide receiver Kadarius Toney out on the practice field at the cross-country mortgage campus.
He's somebody that at the very least could give some juice to the return game.
Yeah,
you're not going to get Naheem Hines
right.
back. He's somebody that could give you some juice in the return game. Yeah. So I'd be curious to see if he ends up finding his way onto this roster before long. Jed Will's not practicing again. Obviously, you're going to need him to practice tomorrow if he's going to play Sunday. The question would be, what would they do at left tackle? The options would be to move Conklin to left tackle and play DeWan at right, to keep Conklin at right tackle, give DeJuan Jones a shot, maybe to be your left tackle of the future, show what he can do there, which I certainly would be interested in seeing. Or it would be Jermaine Ifedi. My guess is it is one of the first two. And probably it makes sense. Jack's back. He's only played right tackle his whole career. Keep him there and give DeJuan an opportunity to play left tackle. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah. All right. Fantasy Minute, Scaleco.
All right, here we go. No buys this week. So you've got everything really at your disposal. You got everything that you want, baby, which is exciting. Let's go here, and we'll start at the quarterback position. The internet here it's really incredible right now.
It is.
And I don't mean that complimentarily.
No, it's not great.
All right, quarterbacks. You know the people that you are starting. People that you might say to yourself, hey, I'm thinking about getting them in their lineups. You had Jaden Daniels, for example. You're going to need to play a quarterback this week. Caleb Williams coming off the bye, I think, is the absolute best pickup and play that you can have. I like Caleb Williams. I like both quarterbacks on Thursday Night Football in the event that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are back. That would be Darnold and Stafford. Goff, absolutely. And then, hey, Tua's back. I don't know if you saw Tyreek Hill.
I saw Tyreek Hill. I saw Tua's presser, which was incredibly powerful.
I'm rooting for him.
Me too.
How could you not?
Yeah. Also,
Tyreek Hill's like, you can play me in fantasy and I'm back.
Yeah.
Like, this has been.
I've had enough.
We're back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just amazing to me that he is so instrumental to what.
It's amazing to me that they were willing, that they didn't know his injury history, and have at least a relatively capable human being behind him.
Right, that could possibly try to do something. All right, running back position. By the way, do you know who the number 2 rusher in the NFL is? 200 and something yards behind Derrick Henry.
I don't. I wouldn't. Is it Achane or something like that?
No, I would think Saquon, but it's not. It's actually Jordan Mason.
Oh, I have him. I should have known that.
Of the 49ers. He's got
that was
over
the one benefit of the Christian McCaffrey injury news. It was on this show when we were doing, I think, the Scaleco Fantasy Minute, and it was starting to be like, well, wait a second. It was heading into week 1. It's like, if he doesn't go, it was right after. Was there a preseason game he looked get in?
Yeah, and I was like, he wasn't practicing. I'm like, get Jordan Mason. Yeah, get him.
And I think it was at that moment that I went and got him, and it wasn't even a waiver claim. Like, it was before week 1 I picked him up because I'm like, something's not right.
So Barkley's second in yards per game. He is second overall, is Mason. Alvin Kamara just signed that deal, but now I've read a report that he's got maybe has a hand injury. He might have a broken hand.
Who's this?
Alvin Kamara.
So strange.
So Kendre Miller would be somebody to pick up if you have him. You're starting the normal people. I think DeAndre Swift is back as a fantasy starter for you. I think Javonte Williams becomes a great play. We saw what he did last week in a plus script game. They're playing Carolina. They're, what do you say, 10-point favorites? That's a plus script game. I think he'll be very good there as well. So those are some people that you can pick up. Rashad White seems to be a big part of what they're trying to do, throwing the football now in the come-from-behind efforts. If they're in another come-from-behind effort, they being the Buccaneers, he could have some value for you as well. In the wide receiver realm of it this week, again, you always start your studs. I like George Pickens as an ascending player with Russell Wilson. He was not afraid to throw the deep ball to him. You throw him 3 or 4 of those a game, he's going to catch 1 or 2 of them.
Yep.
Brian Thomas has reached the point for me where he is a must start.
Yep.
I'm nervous to say this, but in the event that DK Metcalf doesn't play, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba's a good start.
He's so strange how they choose to not use him. Yeah,
it's driving me
really
insane.
strange.
And Jalen Waddle's back. Tyreek Hill's back. Jalen Waddle's back. They're back there. Tight ends, get the Chief in your lineup. We just talked about what a good matchup that is. Unfortunately, I think Mark Andrews, you'd keep him in your lineup as well. As I look at my notes here, Mark Andrews has 9 touchdowns in 12 games against Cleveland, so that feels like a pretty good bet there. Tucker Kraft, I think, is a good start once again. Hunter Henry has been excellent with Drake May at quarterback. I would continue to roll with him as well. So those are some of the tight ends that I'd be looking at.
Alvin Kamara yesterday in his press conference told the media he broke his hand against the Chiefs but was able to play through it. Nobody is 100% in this league. His ribs are also still broken.
Broken ribs, broken hand, and he's still playing?
Yeah.
Well, and for a team that has no that's why they gave him the contract. They respect him.
All right. There you go. Good job of you on your Fantasy Minute. Browns fans, join Cross Country Mortgage and CBD. We are broadcasting live from Black Forest Bar, South Euclid. That is this Tuesday from 1 to 3, next week. Enjoy free food. Get your picture with Browns mascot Chops. Have a meet and greet with Browns players. Thanks to Cross Country Mortgage Home Field Advantage program for helping us with that. The mailbag coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The new Rumpke Recycling and Resource Center helps you feed the circular economy by supplying Ohio companies and others in the Midwest with the material they need to put what you place in your bins to good use. To learn more about the facilities and how you can recycle more, visit rumpke.com today for more. Time for the mailbag. It's presented by the Cross Country Mortgage Company, official mortgage partner of your Cleveland Browns. When it comes to financing, they're always going to get you home. Visit ccm.com today. Equal housing opportunity, NMLS 3029. Hello, Gibby.
Hola. Good. You can tweet your questions to us at Browns_.
That's right.
Daily. Some guy named Tyvis Powell tweeted at us.
Yes.
Hi, TP. What's something you want to see happen by the end of this season that would make this season a positive?
I think there's only one answer to this, and I think we probably have the same answer.
The development of many of our young players, including, I would say, DTR, being the guy that, oh, man, by the end of the season, you're saying, whoa.
Okay, we got something. We can play here. Yeah, that's it. I think that's it.
But I'd add, DeWand and MJ and, Ced Tillman and some of your younger guys continue. Mike
Show
Hall.
you stuff, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but DTR is, and you did this so well, I want to say on Monday when we were doing the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But the reality is that he's kind of the only, and it's not fair to put that on him. That's not what he was drafted to be. He was drafted to be a long-term backup and a very capable backup who played similar to Deshaun, who you could develop and maybe turn an asset. But he's not drafted to be what you're trying to force on. Not even force on him, but you hope that he can elevate to. But it's the only thing that could make this easier.
It's the only internal path out.
There you go. Well said.
You want him. You're hoping for that he can be the savior that Brock Purdy was.
Do you know how amazing our fans are that when we were first asking for Big B sticks, we got a variety of Big B sticks, including this one.
Yeah,
that was part of a Big B stick, and then these were custom made.
And they're fantastic.
And they're spectacular. All versions were, but just an incredible.
And brother, that's premium Velcro.
Yeah, that is. That's not.
It has not wavered in its stickiness in years.
Nah.
Años y años.
No. Beautiful job.
Fantastic craftsmanship.
It really
is. It's elite.
Stunning.
We got dishes. We got hand-blown glass.
I know. It's amazing.
You're talking about quarter zips. Who were we talking about? Yesterday was Siciliano. I mean, we had a guy made like a house CBD like sigil with a quarter zip with a Big B on it.
Yeah, that's right.
When you call me.
That's what pops up is that big.
Yeah, call me. I'll show it to you.
Big B.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold, please.
Now, do I have your contact?
I would hope so. I would hope so. I know you don't follow me on social, but.
Man, I hope the number's not in there.
Why is it not?
Oh, this is fantastic.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. He probably has it under. You could have it under the grade Z. You could have it under.
Legend.
Under Feinbaum.
It's so weird that I have to go
College
to
football Nate.
College football Nate. Maybe.
How am I 9 your favorites? What's the heck?
I don't do that. My kids are always getting me.
There,
on
look. There it is. I'll just show it on my contact for you. There it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with the Game of Thrones writing and Browns Daily.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Hey, dude.
Kyle Gratz.
Where'd you have to look for me? You had to search.
No, I went for contacts. I never know how to do it. I don't have favorites.
What do you mean? Go to your phone. Click where it says.
Do you not know how to
The only
scroll
favorites-
down to Nate?
That's it. My dad and my wife.
You got to live a little, brother.
That's it.
Look, you're right here. Favorites.
Look at all those favorites. Oh man.
Then you just know where they are right away.
NBC. I guess I need to add some favorite. I'm going to add you right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's weird. What happened was that I actually had 2 contacts for you show up. Like that doesn't seem right.
That seems very odd.
Zagura, I have like 5 numbers for you, including ISDN numbers from when you did your fantasy show
that long ago.
That's outrageous.
What ISDN settings I had to put in? I'm like, wait, what was I doing here?
Yeah. What is the meaning of this?
Kyle Gratz tweets at the show, Fantasy Nate. Well, that's not going to help your cause. 15 team, 0.5 point PPR. Jesus, man. My wide receivers are Kupp, Jefferson, McLaurin, B. Thomas Jr.
Jeez.
Pick 3 to start.
Are you in a 2-person league?
He says 15 team. I don't know what the other 14 were doing.
He might not have any running backs.
Or you're playing with like 7-year-olds.
I would if Kupp is back, play him on Thursday, and then I'd play Jefferson and Brian Thomas. The difference between Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota.
Well, that's where he goes next. Also, my QBs are Jaden Daniels, Stafford, Mariota. Start Stafford or hope Daniels plays.
I think if Kupp's back, and I think you just start Stafford. And
you can't roll the dice.
It doesn't feel like Daniels is going to play.
It does not. No.
Joe tweets at the show. We actually have
Joe.
football questions. We'll get into some of the fun stuff here in a minute.
Yeah,
Zeke,
sure
can you
you
see
give
a
enough time
game
for the
plan
fun.
where it's crossing routes and slants over the middle of the field, therefore setting up the deep threat if it's successful? I just want to see Jameis sling it. Let's go.
I think you will sling it. I mean, I think when you get a team, you're going to get some cover 3, so you're going to get some of those combination routes where you're trying to clear out and then throw kind of either a deep over or an out underneath the dropping corner in that deep third. So I think you'll get some of that. Crossing route, I mean, look, living in the middle of the field against a guy as competent as Roquan Smith is challenging. So I think you have to be very judicious, and my guess is you're actually going to want to attack the edges a little bit more in this game and attack their corners. That's the weakest part of their defense. They're probably strongest through the middle with their safeties and their linebackers. So I'd probably you're wanting to work on the edges here. Jameis is going to throw it.
Yep.
He's going to put the ball into some tight windows, and he is going to make some big plays for probably both teams. That's just kind of the way it goes. But listen, the most fun we had here in a long time was when Joe Flacco was doing the same. I mean, I think, Joe was throwing touchdowns and pick sixes, but more touchdowns than pick sixes, and we were winning. But that's kind of the Jameis. That's what you're going to get. Now, I will say it'll be interesting to see how much is, do we get Tampa-style Jameis, or do we get a little bit more kind of reined in, what I would call New Orleans Jameis?
Tampa Jameis must have been a scene, man.
Oh, my goodness.
We did joint practices with him.
In Tampa, he averaged 274 yards per game. He threw 121 touchdowns, 88 picks. In New Orleans, last 10 starts, 10 games he started, 59.9% completion, only 60%, but 2,367 yards, so 236 per game, 20 touchdowns, only 11 picks, and a nice quarterback rating of 87.7. So do we get a little bit more of that, taking care of the ball, but not as much fun, not as much explosivity down the field? His air yards attempt were down significantly. His yards per completion were down about a yard. And his yards per game, obviously, were down in those 10 starts significantly. Which Jameis do we get? That'll be the question. But listen, you don't have 4,000 yard seasons under your belt. You don't have a 5,000. It's stupefying to me. I think this probably has to be the first time in NFL history that the previous season's leading passing yardage leader was not a starter the next season, week 1.
Yes, you're talking about when they went to Tom Brady.
And he goes to New Orleans.
He went to New Orleans, yeah. He threw for 5,100 yards.
5,109. Yep.
Love a dog today. What is your favorite appetizer?
Oh. I mean, I'm going to keep it simple just because it's the appetizer that I can always count on. And at home when I'm doing, Zagura Steakhouse, it's pretty much a staple, and that's going to be shrimp cocktail, but good shrimp cocktail with Elmo's cocktail sauce. And now I'm mixing a little truff into the Elmo's cocktail sauce.
Sure.
Oh, boy, it's a real
You're
treat.
a big truff guy. I know that. I'm with you. A shrimp cocktail is go-to. I love at a fine steakhouse one great roll of sushi.
I'm fine with that. There aren't many steakhouses that'll give you a great roll of sushi, unfortunately.
If you go to a Jeff Ruby.
You can. Yeah,
you will.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I also would say
they will do that. So I will go with that, like a lobster tempura roll or something like that.
Sure.
And work that in.
I also like lobster cocktail, and I've been finding now they've been putting for a while it was only claw and knuckle.
Yeah.
Now you're getting a little tail.
Now you're living.
Oh boy, are you living?
Yeah, that's quite solid.
I think my favorite appetizer, though, just like straight up period favorite appetizer is, if we're getting like really specific, is the hamachi jalapeno or yellowtail jalapeno sushi's. Not sushi, but the yellowtail jalapeno at Nobu. I could eat 1 million of those.
I believe you probably made a run at that. Actually.
I also think that now I'm not much of a clear liquor guy, but I do like a slightly dirty martini with a couple of olives. That puts me in a good mood.
Miss
At
K.
a steakhouse. I see Miss K's big
Miss K
fan.
loves a martini.
Yeah, they're nice.
For me,
nice
it's a
to
good,
set the tone.
nice tequila. That's why I always go first. I always start with tequila, muddle a little jalapeno in there for me, thanks.
Yep.
Squoze of a lime.
And you're off.
And then we'll get into the
rest
vino.
of it.
Yeah. Enough from the clown. Is a hot dog considered a sandwich?
That's a June one. It's a June topic. June topic, hot dog.
Nice. What's an Olympic sport that doesn't exist but should?
Fights to the death.
Getting dark here on a Thursday.
Yeah. Let's really see who's the toughest.
Beer pong.
Although the silver medal would be a tough one to award.
There's only one.
It's fair.
It'd be tough. There's too many Olympic sports is my take. Way too many.
What about beer pong? Beer pong would be a great one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the pressure having to sink a cup? Oh, man. For your country.
Hey, going back to the apps, are we considering soup as an app?
Yes, sure.
Soup can be an app.
Absolutely.
I love a good lobster bisque.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Tyvis Powell follows up. Is DTR better served in the shotgun offense like he was in college or under center?
I would say yes.
Same.
And I thought you could see his comfort with the read option, with the RPO game. Yes, I would say so. That's
Another one from Enough from the Clown. What's the worst job you've ever had, Gibbe? Worst job you've ever had?
The first job I actually ever had at 12 or 13. Maybe broke some employment rules, but I worked for a church. It was my church. I cleaned up after AA meetings on Friday night, on Saturday morning.
Mama.
Taking out the garbage, cigarette butts. You could smoke in church at that point.
Sure, those
just
days.
a cloud.
Whatever you needed.
Oh, yeah.
I've had my first real job was being a lifeguard. So
God,
I've been
it's so glamorous.
I've been pretty lucky
Hasselhoff
in the job.
Do you have
world.
a suck job?
So I was compensated. It was a chore that then became a job, picking up the dog poop. But not.
I can't believe you were.
I do that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, not. I
did a walk this morning.
I
around
mowed
the property.
lawns.
All right. I'm going to give you two.
Well, I know you. I mean,
I'm going to give you two. And these aren't even just some of the more brutal tasks. The first job I ever had was roguing fields. So here's what you do.
I don't even know what that means.
You stretch out. You go in front in a wheat or barley field, and they didn't want to put pesticides on the crop. So you would stretch out arm's width, and you would walk up and down fields and pick the weeds out all day.
That's awful.
Suck.
I hate weeding
That,
as it is right now.
However, was baby stuff alongside of the summer I spent working at Intercontinental Truck Body, where it was after my senior year of high school, and my dad's like, well, you're not just going to, you're not just going to the Ponderosa and driving truck or whatever. You're going to get a real job. You're going to see what this is all about. Okay, great. So the shift started at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it was a 3 o'clock wake up. I'm after my senior year of high school. I want to go live.
Yeah.
I want to go live and flourish. I'm going to college. Let's go. Nope.
That's what you should.
3 a.m. wake up, 4 o'clock there. I was a metal and steel cutter and welder for parts on truck bodies. So I would sit and with one of the welding masks, and I would cut steel, I would cut the metal, and then I would weld parts together that they would repair truck bodies with. The lunch was at 8. And let me tell you, if you want to vomit, try sitting next to somebody trying to suck down a bologna sandwich at 8 o'clock in the morning, because that will make you vomit. I got mono after 2 months. It was so bad I had to go to the hospital with mono. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because I could quit. I remember the boss came to give me my last pay. I'm like, honestly, keep it. Just get out. I'm done. I can't do it.
No.
Suck.
No.
Absolute suck. We'll give you a score. So much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bobby asks, what's your favorite Halloween costume ever?
Of my own?
Yeah. Oh, you can't say it. Mine was college
I had a
OR
college Robin
scrubs
Hood that
and
was
stethoscope that was pretty money.
I had a Robin Hood one that was hilarious for a great many reasons, but did its job.
Nope. Nope. Not on this air. We're not.
Not here.
Nope.
Not here.
My fraternity brother Rob Nielsen had the best Halloween costume though that I've ever seen.
Hey, by the way, it's good to have Bobby back in the mix.
Hey, Bobby! By the way, I was out and about today and I saw something I thought you might like.
Go. You want
it
a
was
Thursday night
bandit
score?
edition of a Jeep Wrangler.
You saw one.
30.
So you're in the northern
in Westerville, I think.
the northern
is that
Columbus
where I was?
suburbs, and somehow you got here.
Westerville,
It's amazing.
Well, by the way, they make more than one, I would imagine.
I don't know.
When they're like, oh, it's a Samsonite. Samsonite's like, well, we actually make a lot of suitcases. That's how we say in business. Yes, yes.
Vikes by $1 billion.
15.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
I'm in. You know, we're lockstep.
We got to. Go to you guys are in Brunswick for the Stefanski show.
Yeah, Cedric Tillman tonight.
There you go.
Fresh off a career high, 8 catches and 81 yards.
Next level's next.
And a 2-point conversion.
E50 ESPN.
Brought to you by Dude Wipes.